Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today's video is all about the extremely popular dark and taboo romance books that you should have already read.
Where have you been if you've not heard of these books?
Okay, so before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway. And Mandy, what's next?
You can get this cinch sack full of fun swag and a book that Jessica's going to hold up.
The Twisted Love by Anna Huang will be included, and there's lots of goodies inside the bag.
Yes, lots of fun stuff. And when we get to 500, we will be giving that away. Make sure you subscribe to us here and follow us over on Instagram,
which is linked down below.
Yes.
All right.
So
these books. So we each have 5. Part of what is inspiring this video is The Wild. We're doing a rereading of The Wild and Free by Kay Webster. So you have yours, right? You have The Wild and Free. I just have The Wild up here right now. So The Wild and Free. This is the ultimate taboo book, right?
Yes. It is our buddy read with a bookmark by Jen and Amber Reads Romance. It will have spoilers, so make sure you get this. Read both of these. They're great. If you love taboo, you've probably already heard of them.
Yes. They're like the ultimate taboo. There is a little bit of dark stuff that happens in them. They're not as dark, but we wanted to do dark and taboo. And these are all the books that we might talk about once in a while, but we don't talk about all the time because everybody's read them. They have a lot of high ratings. A lot of people have them on their channels, and we like to showcase books that aren't as popular, but these are the ones that you should have read already.
So we just did a dark romance rec and we did a taboo romance rec, which was part of the convincing series. So these are the ones that when we were looking for dark and taboo books, we're like, oh, everybody's heard of it. Everybody's heard of it. But we're like, but what if people actually haven't heard of these? So we decided we're going to do the popular ones, and you tell us, did we get all the popular ones? Did we miss something? Or have you not read one of these popular ones? So if you haven't, hopefully we'll convince you to go read them because these are fantastic reads.
Yeah. And we know what each other has because, we read the same books. So we did compare. And it's funny because the majority of mine are dark and the majority of yours are taboo.
Yes. I have one dark and everything else is taboo. Yep.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So.
And my taboos are all age gap.
So yeah, so these are the books that you guys should have read. If not, what rock are you hiding under? Go read them.
Jessica, go for it.
What's my first read? Okay, guys, seriously, Haunting Adeline. Should have read it by now. This is a dark stalker romance. We have Zaid and Adeline, obviously. Addie is an author. Zaid sees her at a book signing, and he is instantly drawn to her, and he starts to stalk her. She's living in her grandma's just passed away. She inherits this big, creepy mansion in Washington State, and she is living in it. She finds letters. Her grandma had a stalker as well and fell in love with her stalker, and something bad had happened to her grandma after that happened. So she's reading these letters, but she's finding like roses all over the house. She's finding like a whiskey glass. Somebody has drank her whiskey and just left it there with little notes. And so she's finding these things all over her house. She decides to hire a security firm, and Zaid runs the security firm. So this is a duet. It is a cat and mouse duet. It is amazing. If you haven't read it, where have you been? Read it. It's very dark though. This one's more dark than taboo. This is dark. It definitely checked triggers for this one.
My first one is Torn by Carrie Ann Cole. This is about Kinsey and Torin, or Tor as he's referred to throughout the book most of the time. So Kinsey is 15 years younger than Tor, and he is her father's best friend. And so you might be like, ooh, 15 years. Well, there was a teenage pregnancy that led to this. So you can just imagine 15-year-olds and a brand new baby. Tor's the best friend to both her mom and her dad. And he's around a lot, and he helps them raise her. So, that could get interesting, couldn't it? It's not done sleazy. It's not at all. Nothing really happens between them that isn't like just strictly him being kind of like her uncle until she's of age. and their feelings for each other really start to change. Tor is totally freaked out about that, where Kinsey more embraces it. It's such a great read. I cannot recommend it enough. I absolutely love this book. I love age gap. And I love it when it's taboo. Like, there's a reason that they really can't be together in addition to the age gap. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And what better to be the guy that's basically helped raise her and is her dad's best friend. What's your next one?
Okay, my next one I've talked about a few times recently, but that's because I just recently read it. So I was hiding under my own rock when it came to this book. And that is the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abby. So this is about Lana, who is a female serial killer, and Logan, who is an FBI agent who specializes in serial killers. They meet one day by happenstance, and they don't realize who the other one is. Logan thinks that the person who's murdering the people that he's trying to find, the serial killer, is a guy, so he's kind of thrown off the trail. When Lana figures that out, that he is her FBI agent, she's falling for him, then it ups her timeline for the things that she needs to get done, aka the murders that she needs to get done. So there's a reason why Lana is doing these things. It is not that she's just a crazy serial killer. There is reasons behind it. This is a series of novellas. I think there's 5 or 6. I'm not sure. This is the bind up of all of them. So worth it. All the audio is just now coming out. But I mean, if you need audio, I think the rest of it will be out within the next month or two. But so amazing. This is what you need. This is me giving you permission. Go read this one. Yes, there's graphic killing on page, but it's all good. It's okay. You'll be fine. It's all good.
All right. I was looking at my book while you were talking, and I got myself kind of distracted.
You were admiring your book.
Yes, I was. So my next one is Balance, which is the first book in the Off Balance series by Lucia Franco. You definitely want to read the whole series. It is not a standalone, and it is like you have to get the next book as soon as you finish one of them. So this is about Rhea and Kova, and this is probably one of the most talked about when you hear about age gap or taboo on BookTube or Book Talk. So if you've not heard of this or read this, where have you been? You're missing out. Go read this. It is so well written. This starts off with Rhea, she wants to be a gymnast and she wants to win Olympic gold, and she sets off to do that, and she gets her dad to convince Kova to take her on as one of his gymnasts, and she doesn't meet his expectations. He has very high standards, and she's a little bit on the older side of trying to get to the Olympics and win the gold. And so he's like, not sure this is going to work out, but she refuses to give up. She trains pretty much 24/7. Like, the poor girl barely sleeps. This is her dream and she wants it desperately. And as she's working to achieve this, he becomes very intrigued with her as he's spending more and more time with her, and things start to develop between the two of them. But there's a lot of back and forth in this book. Kova will make you very, very angry, and you will love Kova so much at other times. So it is a great book for that roller coaster emotional feel. And I don't think I've ever, I mean, you're not going to find age gap taboo like this ever.
Until you do, and then you're like, oops, ate my words.
I don't think there will ever be a series that can compare to Off Balance.
Maybe. I mean, I love it. It's amazing. So the bar is set pretty high.
Yes.
See if somebody can do it. There's just certain books out there that you just can't duplicate. So, All right. So my next one, everybody has read this one. I know almost everybody has read this one. It's the
I've even read it.
Huh?
I've even read that one.
Even Mandy read it, and it's a dark series. So this is the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. I was trying to decide between this and Credence, but we're going with this one because this one's dark. So this one is a 4-book series, which there's novellas in between. Honestly, my favorite one in all 4 books is actually Kill Switch. She's a blind ballerina and he's a psychopath. Love it. But we're going to talk about Corrupt right now. So Corrupt is the first book in the series. I didn't really care for the second one as much, but I love the first and the third. I have not read the fourth. But this is about Erica and Michael. So Erica, her sister dated Michael for years. They break up, and Michael goes off and he's got his basketball career. Erica has done something, and it caused Michael's 3 best friends to get put in jail for 3 years. Now all the guys are just out, and now they're out for revenge. It's called Devil's Night series because that's the night before Halloween, and they go do crazy things in their town the night before Halloween. They wear all these crazy masks, and that's where you get that from. This one's always fun to read around Halloween because it's freaky deaky, but it's good. And obviously it's extremely popular. So for the 3 people who haven't read it out there, go read it.
Okay, my next one is my dark one, and it is Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. This is about Dean and Cora. Cora goes to her sister's birthday party, and Dean is there. Dean is her sister's boyfriend, and she hates Dean, and Dean hates her. They just do not get along. And after the party, her wallet gets stolen, and so she can't get home. So she ends up having to she calls her sister, and Dean answers. So Dean agrees to come and get her. And so Dean comes to get her, and they end up getting basically kidnapped by Madman. And she wakes up in a basement in chains with Dean also chained up. And so the Madman makes them do things and has kind of his own agenda, which really alters the course of their relationship. And so this part of this book is them surviving, and the other part of them is surviving after they're found and how that works. So very good dark book. I really enjoyed it. It does have major trigger warnings though, so check that before you venture in this one.
Okay, so this is my only book that leans a little more, it is dark, but it leans a little more towards taboo than dark. And I could have used any Pam Godwin book, but I chose Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. So this is a teacher-student relationship book. So this is about Ivy. She has had the world's worst home life, like the world's worst home life. Her father has passed away, and one thing that he did is made sure that she gets into this school for gifted musicians. And that is where she meets Emmerich, who is her teacher. He's come to the school after a scandal has broken out, and but he sees Ivy, and he sees something in her that he doesn't see in the other kids, and so he spends some time with her, and things just kind of snowball from there. But there is an age gap. There's a little BDSM situations going on there as well, and it's good. There are some dark elements though, and with all these books, guys, you should know this. The minute we say it's dark and taboo, check your triggers. Check your triggers. So yeah. Dark Notes.
So my next read in the taboo world is Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Ann Cole. This is about Jude, also known as Lucky in this story, and Skylar. Skylar is still in high school, and Lucky is in his 30s. So how do these two meet? Well, Skylar is in a horrible home life situation. Her mom is a horrible, horrible hoarder. She actually has her room barricaded and locked, and she goes through her window to come and go. And because of her mom's hoarding tendencies, she has like a lot of food aversions. And so she eats very little, and she's not taking good care of herself. And she ends up fainting in front of Lucky's workplace, where he's working he's a construction worker, and he's working on building a house, and he sees this happen. So being just a concerned citizen, he goes over to help her. And then he ends up taking her, I think he takes her to the hospital that time, and he gives her some rides home, and like everything just kind of starts off as him just trying to be a good citizen. And then he starts to find out what type of home life she lives in, that she needs certain medicines that she can't get because her mom doesn't have any money. And so he proposes marriage so she can get insurance and take care of herself, because he just feels like he wants to do something good for her. And that's how this starts. And their one rule is when they get married, don't kiss the bride. But of course, they break that. And so how does all of that end up working out? Incredibly good story. None of these books that we're recommending are not incredibly good.
Right. No, there's a reason why they're on the list.
Yes.
And there's a reason why they're so popular.
Yes.
So, Okay, so my last popular book, this one is making the rounds right now. It's getting more and more popular. It's not as popular as some of the other ones, but it's getting more and more popular. And that is The Ritual by Chantal Tessier. So this is a secret society dark romance. So this is about Riot and Blakely. They attend the same college, and Riot is considered a lord in this college. So this is about these are a group of guys whose family, they're all men. The families are very prestigious families in the United States. Like one, you could be like the president's son, you could be a governor's son, you know, like all these prestigious things. And they go through this ritual over their 4 years in college. And so for the first 3 years, they're not allowed to have sex of any kind. Like there's not allowed sex, and they're not allowed to do certain things. And then in their fourth year, they become a lord. They go through the ritual, they become a lord, and then they get to take on a chosen. And a chosen is a woman that they get to have. It's a girl at the college that they get to have for that year. They can do whatever they want to that person's body. They don't get a say. They just get to do it. All of these guys are in arranged marriages, as well as all of these girls that are chosen. And they also come from these prestigious families. And the girls, though, that are like in these arranged marriages, they're not arranged to marry each other. So you have Riot, who gets told by somebody high up, normally they get to choose, but he gets told, you are to take Blakely as your chosen this year. Blakely has no clue what the heck is going on. She's never heard of it. She's been kept in the dark her whole life. She does not know. And then Riot, who's been kind of a dick to her, chooses her. And so she now has to do all of this with her, even though she is engaged to somebody else. And so there's a lot of non-con, you know, kind of stuff that happens. She's a virgin. He takes care of that in front of a room full of people. Yeah. Dark, very dark and twisted, but so very good. It's funny, all mine are dark.
Yeah.
And all yours are taboo.
All right.
Okay.
So on to my last taboo. But this is like, where have you been if you have not read this book? And you are only hurting yourself by not having read this book. It is the best book on the planet.
So says Mandy.
Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Oh, look, my nails even match the cover.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, I couldn't have planned that better if I tried. All right, so this is about Jordan and Pike, and really all you need to know is just go read the book. It is the best, but I'll give you a little bit more. So Jordan has a loser boyfriend. There's really no other way to describe him. He's a loser, and he's not good to her. He forgets about her. He's supposed to pick her up from work, and he just forgets, and so she gets stuck like late at night without any mode of transportation. And he does this to her, and it's her birthday. And so she goes to the movies and she meets this guy, and they kind of hit it off, and they're walking out of the theater together. And she's at this point certain her boyfriend is going to be there to pick her up. And he's not, because he's actually in jail. And she finds this out because Pike finds out that his son is in jail. And his son is, of course, Jordan's boyfriend. And because of the boyfriend's lack of motivation, choices, partying, they end up getting kicked out of their apartment. And so Pike takes them in, trying to mend his relationship with his son and just do something that's good. But Jordan's the only one that's putting in any effort in their staying with Pike. She's like helping around the house. She's making lunches. She's preparing dinner, that sort of thing. And Pike just starts to really kind of resent how his son treats her. And he really starts to develop a connection with Jordan, and Jordan develops a connection with him. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Just go read this if you haven't read it.
All right, guys. So that's what we have for you. These were all of the extremely popular dark and taboo romance books that y'all should have read by now.
Yes. And if you haven't, do yourself a favor and go read them.
Go read them.
And also check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.